What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have guys clearly they need to keep and have stick around and be key components on this roster. And they have several guys that they need to get off of. And those guys are kind of the guys we knew in the offseason, right? Now it's early on. Maybe something crazy happens and one of these guys end up becoming like, hey, maybe we can't trade them. But just from what we've seen, due to injuries, all these other things, I think they need to go. And those guys are Rui Hachimura, who, again, I love Rui Hachimura. To his credit, has really evolved and adapted in several ways of just being that ideal kind of off-ball player. Catch and shoot three-point shooter, can create for himself a little bit, right? Guy that can be a slasher cutter. Like, if I'm not mistaken, led the league or was like top 3 in the league in just like scoring off of slashing and cutting, right? Like, he's a guy that I would love to keep if we could, but he is probably our best valued trade because of his contract, and he is a guy that I think teams would want and could make sense for teams off the bench or even in a starting role, things along those lines, right? So I just think given the Lakers' clear need of perimeter defense and athleticism, right, Rui Hachimura just doesn't provide any of those things, despite how good he is and how on any given night he could be that guy that really elevates to be the difference maker and how he's really evolved and adapted his game. I just think the Lakers have too many needs to justify holding on to Rui Hachimura and not trading him and, keeping him. Again, that doesn't mean you trade him just to trade him, but if you can find that right trade, that right move, I think he needs to go. And then the other guys are Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, Dalton Knecht, right? Dalton Knecht, he's lost at this point. And I just don't think you're going to be able to find him. I don't think you're going to be able to get him back. I don't think he's ever going to be that player again that you need him to be. He's had a lot of opportunities from Summer League all the way through to now, and he just continues to fail to deliver. And, it's such a drastic turnaround, and it's unfortunate because, again, I want to see him have success, but I've talked about it in independent videos. I think if you're somebody that wants him to have success and you're a fan of his, I think you're praying that he gets traded. I do. I think you're begging that he gets traded because I think it's the only way he's going to snap out of this. Now, I've seen people say that, he has a negative value. I don't know about negative value. He doesn't have value, but there's teams that he's a player that fits the mold that most teams want and need. He's still incredibly young. And I think most teams know what we know, which is if he goes to the right team, right situation, he may bounce back. And there's always teams that think we can do better, right? There's always teams that think he just lost confidence. We need to get that back in and he could be that guy for us. But that doesn't mean you're going to get positive value for him, right? Gabe Vincent, again, he's hurt again. We have too many needs. Again, another guy that I like when he's on, he can be a difference maker, all of that. I just think he's undersized and we need athleticism and perimeter defense and two-way capability. And Gabe Vincent's too hot and cold, both on the court as well as injury-wise. So I just think you need to get off of him. And then Maxi Kleber, best ability is availability, and the guy can't play, right? Max Kleber, when he plays, he's good. Right? He's a good player. Right? He plays within his realm. He doesn't try to get outside his box. He can hit shots. He can be a floor spacer. He can be a lot of things that you need him to be, right? Problem is, again, you can't rely on him. You can't count on him. You don't know, is he ever going to show up? Is he going to play? It's just, you need to get off of these guys. Now, I know the immediate answer that people are going to have is who wants these guys? No one's going to trade for these guys, blah, 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 blah. Again, there's more to trades than just the names on the back of the jerseys, right? More often than not, trades happen for more than beyond the names of the back of the jerseys, right? There's salary implications. There are, just dysfunction or guys just not working in one place that, try to get another. There's just, hey, we kind of want to retool, re-roster, right? There's, hey, we really like this guy and think he has more upside than this guy, so on and so forth, right? There are countless reasons why teams make trades, but there's a bigger reason now than there ever was. And we saw it this offseason in particular. And that is teams and the lengths and desperation that they will go through to get off of salary. right? And there are a lot of teams that are kind of underperforming right now, Lakers included, but Lakers have been due to injuries, right? Like, there are a lot of teams that if things kind of continue, right? Talked about it all offseason. Every year, there's teams that thought they were going to be good that aren't and want to retool. There are teams that don't want to be good that end up being kind of good that want to kind of sell off veterans and stuff like that. And then there's teams that just like, hey, this guy isn't working out, whatever. And then, 15 other reasons why trades end up getting done. So to me, the Lakers' best value, because they're limited on assets. They're first, they got a first, couple pick swaps, seconds, but their best tradable asset is their expiring contracts. Lakers have, 40 plus million in expiring contracts. And so what that does is now you're going to get to that point where teams start getting in that desperation mode. You're going to start getting to that point where teams kind of feel like, hey, we really need to get off of these guys. This guy isn't working. Miami, we'll just use them as an example. They play poorly. They want to get off Andrew Wiggins' money, right? There's very few teams that will take his money on without demanding assets that'll actually give you value for him, that actually, can put together enough expiring salary. Because that's the thing. If you're Miami or one of these teams, you don't want to take on a bunch of long-term money. Right? Like, you don't want to get off of guys and retool things to take on a bunch of long-term money. And a lot of teams, there's few teams that actually have the expirings and contracts and stuff to get off, their help other teams get off of players, right? Like, so that's the thing. Or you get a team that has like a huge contract, right? You have teams that have like, this guy's a $30 million contract, which again is harder to move than a bunch of $11 million contracts. Because it's like, hey, we could trade these two guys to get to a $20 million guy, or $18 million guy or whatever. We could trade these, each guy individually. Like, you could do a Gabe Vincent for like a Matisse Thybulle, right? Like, or a Gabe Vincent for like a Haywood Highsmith, right? Or you could do like a Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, and or I guess probably be like Rui Gabe Vincent for like an Andrew Wiggins, right? Like, it gives you more options and flexibility. You can make multiple moves or you can make a move. A guy has it, somebody's like, hey, we have this guy paying him whatever, $15 million a year, right? We'd like to get off his money. Okay, well, we could take Gabe Vincent or Maxi Kleber and Dalton Knecht, get off of his money the next, 3 years and bring in an expiring contract and a young player that maybe has some upside. We'd rather pay Knecht, what was he making? $4.5 million next season, something like that. I think it's $6 million. I think that's what it is. $6 million. We'd rather pay him $6 million for 1 year than this guy 15 for the next 3, right? Like, it's things like that now start to have value. And now teams start to look at it and go, you know what? Like, hey, let's call up the Lakers. Let's try to pull off a trade with the Lakers. Let's talk to the Lakers. So I do think the Lakers are going to be players at the trade deadline. I think B, teams are going to hope the Lakers are players at the trade deadline. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go trade first. Like, I'm not expecting Giannis or anything like that. And I don't think the Lakers necessarily need that, right? Lakers are in good shape. Lakers, again, we have seen thus far, although small sample size, early season, right? So I don't want to get too high, the pendulum swing. I talk about all the time, even keel. We have seen a version of this team that I believe can win an NBA championship, right? You look at like the Minnesota game, great example. It's like, man, this could be a team, right? Guys stepping up, guys playing well, go get a couple few key pieces, and everything we expected, again, at least thus far, all was expected in the offseason and all talked about in the offseason, right? Like, it's all those kind of things, right? Like, we knew going into this season, Lakers had a lack of perimeter defense, a lack of athleticism, a lack of two-way guys. Guess what the Lakers' problem was all preseason? A lack of athleticism, a lack of perimeter defense, a lack of two-way guys. Guess what the Lakers' issues have been so far through the first, 4 games? Lack of defense, perimeter defense, lack of athleticism, lack of two-way play. Again, I don't think any of that's going to change. I don't think Rui's going to magically become this elite defensive player. I don't think, Dalton Knecht is going to, Dalton Knecht will have a game, right? If he keeps getting the opportunities he's getting, he'll have a random game. He's a shooter. He's going to have a night where the ball just goes into the hoop, right? He's going to have one of those nights, right? But again, there's a difference between that and regular, now Knecht's back to being that Knecht. Right. So unless something crazy happens with one of these guys, or Gabe Vincent just magically starts to shoot 40% like clockwork every night, till some crazy things start to happen, you're kind of in this spot where it's I think you just got to get off of them. And, Maxi Kleber, even if he was to turn it around and stay healthy, he's not going to be so good. It's man, we can't trade this guy. So I think him regardless, Rui, again, he's probably the biggest argument. He's probably the one guy, again, you don't want to trade him for nothing, right? It's got to make sense, right? If you're going to trade Rui, it's got to be for something that actually is valuable, that makes sense, because he is a guy that is a contributor, whether he's coming off the bench, whether he's starting, whatever. He's a guy that you don't want to just get rid of just for the sake of getting rid of. But Gabe Vincent, again, either way, even if he was playing well, you have other needs. He could go. Maxi Kleber, same thing. Dalton Knecht, same thing, right? Those are guys that no matter what, you're okay getting off of them. It's again the Rui that's probably the guy that, it's got to make sense. Austin Reaves, I don't think that they trade this season, especially with how good he's been playing. But even then, again, I don't think anyone's untradeable, outside of Luka on this team. So, again, that, you'd have to get some a package for him. And the problem is he's so cheap, it'd be hard to really get value that is justifiable for trading him. Again, I don't think the Lakers would trade him. I don't think the Lakers necessarily should, based on what we're seeing thus far. Again, a lot of season left. And I just think it's just hard because of his value, but he is an expiring contract, so it's worth at least mentioning him briefly. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me not. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.